Need the ultimate setup for your Call of Duty split screen showdowns or a massive movie night in the comfort of your own home? The Hisense C2 Ultra offers a lot of flexibility with vibrant colors, razor sharp details, surprisingly bassy built-in speakers, and Xbox certification. It ticks a lot of boxes. But at $24.99, is this the ultimate lifestyle projector, or is it just a big gamble? I'll take you through my reasons to buy and skip so you can decide if it's the right fit for your setup. All right, the first reason you might want to buy the C2 Ultra is that its image quality pops and will blow you away under the right conditions. It's natively a 1080p projector, but it has a DLP chip to display 4K. It supports Dolby Vision, HDR, HLG, and IMAX Enhanced with a claimed max brightness of 3000 ANS lumens and a 2001 contrast ratio. But aside from movies and shows, this is also a great choice for gaming as it supports switching between 4K 60Hz or 2K 120 or 2K 240, which is incredible, but we'll get into that in just a bit. Against a colored wall, the projector intelligently adapts to provide you the most accurate and rich colors, which is a huge plus, especially if you don't have or don't want to install a screen. I got the C2 Ultra to project to about 220 inches, but even that large, every detail still comes through, and it's really impressive. And it made me actually want to go back and catch up with my watch list, especially for big blockbusters because of that easy movie theater-like experience that I was getting. Like I already hinted at, a big reason people are going to want the Hisense C2 Ultra is its versatility, but this is on the bigger side of what I'd consider a lifestyle projector, weighing nearly 14 pounds and it's almost a foot tall. So I wouldn't exactly call this portable, but you can still move this from room to room and even pack it in a bag if you wanted to for a trip, let's say. It's not as compact or discreet as something like the Xgimi Horizon Ultra, but you can still keep it stored on a shelf or table when not in use. For most people though, I think this is probably going to be in a more permanent setup with the occasional move from room to room. But while this projector can be a little bit bulky, it's still portable enough for some outdoor movie magic, as long as it's dark enough. The C2 Ultra allows for quick setup even for those who aren't projector experts, as well as a built-in gimbal and auto keystoning, obstacle avoidance, and other smart features. These pair great with picture quality and solid built-in speakers, which I'll get into, making it a great choice no matter if you're a first-time buyer or you're looking to upgrade from a cheaper projector. It has a unique base that lets you rotate 360 degrees horizontally along with a gimbal for tilting up and down 135 degrees. So whether you want to project this against a wall, a ceiling, screen, indoors, outdoors, it adapts quickly to help give you the biggest and best picture for that area. Its auto keystone correction system is mostly accurate, though I did run into a few times where either its obstacle avoidance didn't resize enough to not project against unwanted, well, obstacles like my drums. It also didn't always project a flat rectangle at times. While other long throw projectors that I've tested like the Xgimi Horizon Ultra have a much more consistent auto keystoning, it's worth mentioning that Hisense's manual adjustments here were easy enough to use as well. All right, this is my favorite part. If you've never tried gaming on something 200 inches or larger, take it from me, it'll spoil you. I'm all for movie nights, but playing party or co-op games against a massive wall is arguably the coolest thing that you can do with the C2 Ultra. Gamers are sleeping on projectors like this, and it's not only about getting a bigger screen size. The design for Xbox branding isn't just for show here. The Hisense C2 Ultra supports 4K 60Hz, which is already great for a lot of games, especially more casual titles, but if you drop its resolution to 2K, you can unlock 120Hz or even 240Hz, which only a handful of other projectors can do. When combined with its game mode, which reduces input lag to 12 milliseconds, playing games like Black Ops 6 or FIFA on a 200-inch plus screen is mind-blowing. Projectors tend to have a very noticeable latency, but with this on, every controller input felt instant. And even if you're not an Xbox gamer, these features make the C2 Ultra one of the best ways to play your games on a big screen. That said, with all the Xbox branding, I think it's a missed opportunity for Hisense to not have included built-in Xbox cloud gaming support like a lot of newer Samsung smart TVs and Amazon Fire Sticks do. Especially for how relatively easily you can move this from room to room, it would have been just as great to easily launch into my favorite games without needing a console or a separate streaming stick hooked up. Most projectors leave audio as an afterthought, but with the Hisense C2 Ultra, it's surprisingly good. It packs a JBL 2.1 channel audio system, including two 10-watt speakers and a 20-watt subwoofer, which has a good amount of bass, which actually rumbled quite a bit in big explosion scenes in The Edge of Tomorrow, which is a great movie as well. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend. Its cooling fans on the back do give off a low hum, but it's quieter than the average projector. After a few minutes, you can pretty much tune it out here. And for a setup that's ready to go out of the box, its speakers get plenty loud for a medium-sized room like this while retaining clarity, but I found it's still best to sit relatively close to the projector for the best results. That said, unlike a TV that's always blasting the audio towards you, with the C2 Ultra, there's a good chance that you're going to be sitting to its side or in front of it, which won't sound nearly as nice. And so if you're gonna frequently be using this in one spot primarily, I'd highly recommend investing in a good sound system like the Hisense HS5100 5.1 channel, or even a solid pair of bookshelf speakers like the Edifier S360DB. Now, if you've made it this far and you want to see more of these videos, stay subscribed and give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions about the C2 Ultra at the end of this one, just let me know in the comments. So that brings me to my first reason to skip. Like most projectors, the C2 Ultra struggles in brighter rooms, even ones like this with the lights on. And it's even worse if you get a lot of sunlight and can't block it out. Cranking up the brightness in the picture settings past about 70 will only result in washed out images, so you're really limited to using this in more controlled rooms or at night. Now, don't get me wrong, its peak brightness can actually be overwhelming when using this in darker rooms, and is part of the reason its HDR content looks so good here. But it's not bright enough to compensate for all that unwanted light. Because of that, if you don't need the flexibility of screen size or the portability that this offers, you can either go for a laser TV like the Hisense L9H, which is available in 100 or 150 inches, or just look for a TV around 100 inches like the TCL 98-inch Q6 or the Hisense 100-inch QD7, which are both deeply discounted to $1,600. Again, large TVs are far less flexible than projectors, and you definitely won't be moving them from room to room, but they're also far better for well-lit spaces and continue to be much more affordable. Tied in with my last point, aside from its gaming modes, obviously, the biggest selling point with the C2 Ultra is that it can project to a massive 300 inches. But the question is, do you really need something that big? Or better yet, do you even have a wall that's empty big enough? For reference, a 300-inch diagonal screen at 16:9 aspect ratio comes to 12.25 feet tall and 21.8 feet wide. That's very hard to find. If you still like the idea of a projector for its flexibility and you don't mind settling for just 200 inches, as well as sacrificing its gaming features, you can save quite a bit and still get impressive picture quality with projectors like the Xgimi Horizon Ultra for under $1,500, or the newer Horizon S Max, which has a similar built-in base for less than $2,000. You could either pocket the savings or use it to build out your entertainment setup with some of those speakers we mentioned earlier, or pick up something like the Series X, or heck, even get some motorized shades to help keep the sun out. At $2,500, the C2 Ultra is definitely in a very premium segment with features to justify its cost, but only if you really need them. The Hisense C2 Ultra runs on Vidaa OS, which at first glance looks very similar to Google or Android TV, but it actually has its own app store. It runs smooth and its apps and menus open quickly. You'll have access to all the big name streaming services like HBO, Prime, Netflix. It even has its own catalog of basic games if you ever get that bored. Vidaa OS gets the job done and it's easy enough to use, but it does have some quirks. First, if you're already used to Google or Android TV, you're gonna miss the convenience of just logging in with your Google account for quickly re-downloading your favorite apps, as well as accessing your watch history. Similarly, the app selection is decent here and you're probably gonna find everything you need, but expect a few pre-installed bloatware options like UFC and Red Bull, which for whatever reason, I don't think can be removed. To top it all off, I think it's ridiculous, and this goes far beyond just Hisense or Vidaa OS, for a premium projector or TV or anything that you just drop $2,000+ on to still feel like a free-to-play game with ads. While this is becoming increasingly normalized, it's ridiculous that there's always a large ad at the top of your home screen taking up way too much space, and that's only worsened when you're projecting it at 200+ inches. So, buy or skip. The Hisense C2 Ultra projector is a solid investment if you have the right space, lighting, and of course budget. Ultimately, would I buy this? I wish I had the space for it because at 200+ inches, it's the most immersive visual experience that I've created to date, and I didn't even get close to taking full advantage of its maximum projection size. Unfortunately, I'm not really the target demographic here, being in New York City with a notoriously small apartment, and it's definitely not in my budget. But if you're lucky enough to have a large empty wall in a room that you can keep mostly dark, then its impressive picture quality and high refresh rate will make it an incredible option for home theater lovers and gamers alike. Keep in mind, if you're looking for something that'll look great no matter how bright your room gets, you're still better off with a TV. Sure, it won't be anywhere near as big, but at least it won't get as washed out as easily. But let me know what you think. You can find us everywhere at Tom's Guide, and you can follow me to see what other cool tech I'm reviewing next. Until the next one, I'll catch you later.